Welcome to a new video on CryptoKey. Today, my dear friends, I have an extremely brilliant scalping strategy for you that uses only one indicator where you really can't go wrong. You don't need 5 signals, you don't need to pay attention to 7 different things and so on. A signal appears, you open the position, you set a fixed take profit and you set a stop loss so you don't take too much of a loss. I'll show you in a moment how high it's set and so on. And with this, you get an extremely high hit rate as long as you pick the right coins. And today I'll show you everything on Ape on the 30-minute chart. And now I have a request for you. If I don't forget, I'll ask you again at the end. If you apply this to different coins where you have a good hit rate, please share it here with the community in the comments. You know, I'm all for everyone making profits, for everyone earning money. And of course, the more coins we have that maybe others aren't even aware of, that can be traded like this, even for the community, better it is, of course. I won't keep rambling on now. I'll show you in a moment which indicator we mean by the Chandler exit, how to set it up, and what we do so that you can achieve really good performance. So I'm in the chart now. This is basically the tutorial. I'll get to that in a second. Which indicator do we use for this? I've already told you that. It's the Chandler exit again. You look for each Chandler exit by Everget with 7,805 people currently using it. I'll add it now. But it looks a bit off at first. It's set up in a way that we actually don't need. What we're going to do now is simple. We take the settings for it. I'll make this a bit bigger to adjust the settings a little. Here, the first thing we do is set this to 1. And here we set it to 1.85. Very simple. Under style, I go in here and remove these lines so the chart doesn't look so cluttered. That's it. We don't need anything else. And as you can see here, it's a super simple setting. Why do I have 2 charts open here? I'll tell you that in a moment. Because we're getting the signals here from the Heiken Ashi candles. I want to show you that as well. Why Heiken Ashi candles? Because we get much smoother signals, much better. Because if we switch to regular candles here, you can see what a mess it is, and we don't need that. We use the signals from the Heiken Ashi candles, but a Heiken Ashi candle is never the actual price, the current price. That's why for you, I've also put the correct price, the real ape chart with the regular candles here on the right. Because you can see here on the right, 3.60907 is the current price, the actual one. But Heiken Ashi shows 3.615. So there's already a bit of a difference, which shouldn't be the case. That's why we take the signals from here, but the actual trade happens here. And now you'll see just how incredibly simple this is. Maybe just as an explanation, you can see here when I move the mouse, hopefully you can see it too. You see this cross here where I move my mouse so that you catch the same candle on both the left and right sides of the chart. Why am I showing you this? Because we're simply looking here just on the left. Let's take a look at where the signal can be. And on the right, so that we can enter there, I'll of course zoom in everywhere so you can see it better. And on the right, we're looking at the correct candles. As a small example of why I say it's not the same, let's assume I go in here now on the right. So on the left, our sell signal appeared and the actual candle close price was much lower in this case. It was here then what is shown on the left with the Heiken Ashi candles. That's just an example so you can see why I do the profit or percentage measurements here. But now, very briefly, what does this look like? What's the procedure? There are 2 possibilities. The procedure is simple. We set a take profit at 0.5%, no more and no less. And we take out 100% at that point. That's it, done. I'll show you in a moment what the profits would look like. And a stop loss of 1%. Normally, it's not the case that we have a higher stop loss than take profit. You'll also see in a moment how high the hit rate still is. Or you can set take profit 1 also at 0.5%. That works in this case 0.5%. But we only take out 75% and then set a second take profit with a trailing stop loss and a distance of 0.5%. So what actually happens here? I've already described that below. As soon as we reach 0.5% and the stop loss, which is at 1%, then starts with a trailing stop loss at a distance of 0.5%, it's set to break even. From TP1 onward, our stop loss is at break even. We can't make a loss anymore, but can only make profits unless it goes back and hits the break even. Case closed. And that's just a small example with the trailing stop loss. We said 0.5%, so I'll show you that. We would be here now. I'll just do it quickly here anyway. In at 0.5%, out here at 75%, And then we would have had another move up here up to about 0.95%. The trailing stop loss would have moved along with it. And that's what I mean when it's at break even. But for now, let's stick with the simple version. You just take out 100% at 0.5%. Now, let's actually get to the individual signals and the results that I want to share with you, that I want to show you to demonstrate how well this works. And now I'll scroll down. I'll try to scroll in closer again so you can see it as well. Maybe also for those watching on a smartphone. We are now on the same chart. That means I'm now switching to the price chart. We're using the actual prices, and you can see here on the left where the buy signal was, and right next to it is the candle where I am now. That means that was the candle close. We always take the signal at the candle close. That's very important. And from that point on, it counts. That means this was the entry. We went up once, we gained about 0.3%, went a bit into the negative with minus 0.2%, and then moved upward. And here we reached the 0.5%. That doesn't sound like much, but I'll show you the calculator right now so you see what I mean. If we had just taken that and exited right away, this is how it could look. I've pulled up a calculator here. Let me put it this way. You take $100 of your own capital with a leverage of 10 times. Not a recommendation for 10 times, but I'm just telling you how I do it. I actually do everything through scalping trades with 10 times leverage, sometimes even higher. But please don't copy this if you don't want to risk losing your money. But what does that look like? 10 times leverage, $100 of your own capital, entry price was 3.592, exit price 3.61. You can see here, that's 5%. Basically, it was actually just a 0.5% market movement, but thanks to the 10 times leverage, that gave us a 5% profit. And that means in this case, I made $5 per trade. But let's just increase everything for those who like to end. I know a lot of people trade with much higher amounts with $1,000 of their own capital. That means per trade, that's $50. Of course, you shouldn't forget that if it goes into the negative by 1%, you've lost $100. If it goes into the negative by $100, you've lost $10. Pretend this is what I want to show you now, because we've just said $50 per trade or $5 per trade. I just want to show you this in the consolidation phase. There, we don't have much. Here we have December 22nd. That wasn't that long ago. How many buy and sell signals we had here? We'll go through quite a bit of this in a moment. Looking back, you'll see how often this hit rate that is, the percentages achieved. And of course, you can really get quite a bit out of that. And we were just here before at the first example, right? Now I want to move on to the next example. I'll zoom in a bit here as well, so we can see where the entry was. On the left, you can see again where the candle was. This is the candle with the actual signal. That means here the candle close was actually from the left Heikin Ashi signal. And then we went down and already reached the 0.5% here, right? But if you use the trailing take profit, you can see that the price went down again to 1.15%. That means with the remaining 25%, if you had only taken out 75% before, you could have made even more profit, of course. So the second take profit was reached. Then let's keep looking. Let's scroll out here. Here was the other one again. In this case, it was this candle where the buy signal appeared. You can see here we went up briefly, then down, but even here there was a profit. So on the left, the signal was in this case at this candle down here. First candle afterwards went up, took a profit of 0.5%. Either exited with 100% right away or not. Done deal before the price went down a bit again, yeah? That's what I mean by scalping. In quickly, out quickly, done deal. The main thing is you make a bit of profit. Here would have been our next one. Wait, I need to check. That was the candle, the closing candle. I think this would be a losing trade now. Let's take a look right away. Here, exactly, here is our candle. You can see here, Heikin Ashi would have a completely different price on the left. It went up once there. That means 0.7. No, we didn't make it. So no loss, no negative, nothing at all. And here for example, we would have lost one now. That means the previous two. So out of the free draw of 2 free trades, you would have lost one now, but you'd still be in profit. Then let's move on to the next candle. Here the signal came in. We can see it again here. Here came the buy signal, exactly. And if we go in here, just so we get it exactly right, it was right here. We went up here, then down here. But in this case, we didn't hit the 1% stop loss. It went up again, and here we hit our 0.5% target again. Another profitable trade. If we look at the next sell signal, where was that? In this case, it was here. Again, let's take a look at the price chart. On the left, it was at this candle. Here there was a sell signal. We were briefly in the red with minus 0.38%, and then it went down. Another profitable trade. I'm now always taking the fixed 0.5%. Then on the left, if we look again, where was the candle? In this case, it was here. That was our one. Sorry, that was the candle, just to be accurate. Exactly, that was the correct candle. Here, a buy signal appeared. The next candle went up, didn't quite make it, went down a bit. Stop loss hasn't been hit yet. Here we have our take profit area, another profitable trade. You can keep doing this and feel free to check it out for yourselves. This here, I would say, has about an 80% hit rate based on what I've backtested so far. Of course, it's not always guaranteed at all times, but if we keep looking, here was our next signal. Here it went up. Again, we didn't hit the 1% stop loss here either. That means the position was still open, and then it went down here, 0.5% take profit again. If you include that with a trailing stop loss, you would have made more, but again, it was a profitable trade. Let's keep going. Of course, I'm not going to do this the whole time. Here we had a long signal. Exactly, a very nice long signal. That was the candle if we go in here. So here a long signal up, 0.5% trade out. As you can see, we've actually had a loss here so far. I'll make this a bit bigger now. How many trades have we had in total now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 trades. And only one of them was negative so far. Yes, 1. And you know now, those were the Christmas holidays, December 24th, December. Here was the 25th. Nothing happened then, and yet you still basically made profits throughout. I also turned everything off on my end. Maybe we'll do a 10th one as a little conclusion, as the 10th trade. That means we had a sell signal here. That was this candle. Sorry, just to be accurate. Exactly, this candle briefly went up to 8.1% down, and then here again a profitable trade. So 10-1 now in this short consolidation. That's what we have here. But of course, there's a lot more here. You can see these settings for scalp depending on your position size. It doesn't matter if someone says they're trading with just $100, $1,000 or $10,000. You can always take something away and gradually build your portfolio with small positions. You can simply set an alert for yourself. When did a buy signal appear? When does a sell signal appear? So that you're always ready to place trades here as well. Super easy, super simple. Let me know what you think about it. And don't forget to drop a few coins in the comments where you say you've also backtested this. You're making good profits with it, with Atro, with these, whatever. Yeah. But the main thing is stable profits. And share that with the community. I'd really appreciate it so that all of you can make profits together. All right? Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Comment on the video, like the video, share the video. It needs a lot of views. Bye. See you next time.